Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Vishesh Sharma, who is the CEO and co-founder of Legex. Legex is a legal tech startup focusing on providing technological solutions to streamline and ease legal accessibility for businesses and individuals. Hi Vishesh, welcome to ELI.
Thanks a lot, Priya, for having me over here. It's always great to share ideas and see that how things are evolving on a larger scale.
Vishesh, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Yeah. So I'm Vishesh. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Legex. We started Legex back in Jan 2019 when I was just getting out of my college with along four of my friends. So it has been an amazingly entire journey where we started with streamlining some operations for startups with regards to their registrations, doing their compliances, and over the time we have evolved into a mainstream legal organization where we feel that every single organization has certain legal aspects to it. And if using technology, we can make them streamlined, it will be good for all the stakeholders. Where the business's efficiencies improve, we see that a lot of conflicts that might arise in the future are getting resolved at a very early stage. So overall, it has been an amazing journey so far.
Okay, Vishesh, tell us what has been the scale and reach of Legex so far.
So when we started Legex in Jan 2019, for the initial 6 to 7 months, it was a huge learning curve where we experimented a lot of times to see that what fits in the market, what not. So initial 6 to 7 months, it was really nothing on the plate. Then when we got the sort of experiment in the market, we understood that what are the market niches that are required. After fabricating them till now, we have served more than 250 businesses across the globe, which includes countries from ranging from US to European Union to Australia to Singapore. Even in India, we have supported more than 200 businesses.
Okay, okay. So now I'd like to hear from the day one how you all started. What is the first thing you did and how it all grew day by day.
So it has a very interesting story. So we had the idea of Legex starting from the ending of our second year of our college. So I did my undergrad from Cluster Innovation Center, which is a research cum innovation center at University of Delhi, where they focuses on interdisciplinary studies with regards to engineering, with regards to philosophy, business. So they tweak around a lot of things. So when I did my undergrad from there, along with four of my other friends, we had this idea of Legex.
Mm-hmm.
And from when the second year ended, we said that okay, if we can do something in this space. So I come from a family of lawyers,
Okay.
where I always saw that what are the kind of inefficiencies these legal professionals face.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat with them. We're doing this. Like, if using technology, we can automate these things. This will be good, for all the stakeholders. Yeah. So after second year, we thought on this. When it came down to fourth year, so we all got our internships. And we were like that, what are we going to do about this? We have this idea from second year, and even now, we are just going to go and do this internship. How will this really get started? So from November, this was a frustration in my head that, what to do, how to do it, because on one side we were, getting this kind of a beautiful internship where we get to learn a lot from the seniors, have some good stipend. And, as a recent graduate, a stipend is a good thing to get. And all of us were, were on a good path at that time. So we said that, okay, maybe we can do it in future, maybe not now. And then this thing continued for a good period of time. Then in December on 22nd, I, along with one of my co-founder and his cousin, went out, on a trip. We hiked around Triund, which is in Himachal Pradesh. And when at night 2 o'clock, I was just sitting over there at the top of the mountain, just thinking that what I'm gonna do, how this internship is going to be. And every single time I thought about internship, Legex came up. That if doing along with the internship, I could do this thing, this would be good for the startup. And then I said that okay, I'm gonna do this internship. Why I'm gonna do this? So that introspection led me to just restructure everything, that what we are gonna do, whether this is something good or not. Then I came back, went to my hometown, told my grandparents that okay, this is something that I'm planning to do. Then, again, I came back to my home, told my parents. They were kind of very skeptic, as all Indian parents and most of the parents across the globe are, that, what you are going to do, maybe this won't work out, maybe take an experience for, a year or two. And then, on 2nd of January, I sat down with all of my friends. I told them that, yeah, I'm going to do this. They said, yeah, why you are just going to do this? We are also going to do this. So most of them, just left their internship then and there. We called our respective organizations, told them that, okay, we cannot pursue it, and started with it.
Okay.
So yeah. So that was day one. 2nd January was our day one, and since then it has been amazing seeing a lot of things in the market within ourselves, that how we have grown over the time.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Vishesh, one thing I am very curious to know. In a short period of time, I think you have built a fairly reasonable size of team. Tell us how you have grown so fast, especially right after your college. What has been your motivation or inspiration to go so fast?
you know uh, One of the things that when you are young, that happens is, so it's both in a good sense and in a bad sense. One thing that when it happens in a good sense is that you do not have a lot of previously built iterations, because when you work in an organization, you see that, okay, this is a sort of structure that works, this is what doesn't work. So you have a fair idea that what works and what doesn't. As a young entrepreneur, you do not know any of this. You just think that, okay, this is something that I got to do, these are the prerequisites, and I'm going to do it. So this is in a good sense. When we talk about it in a bad sense, then you do not know the structures. You do not know how teams work, how dynamics work. So that kind of also is a setback. So over iterating a lot of times, because the first team that we had, even our co-founding team, that got disbalanced at one point of time in last December. One of the co-founder left the organization. So that was also a setback for us, because we didn't know how this team hierarchy dynamics work. But then that setback was, in fact, was the biggest push that we could have ever got. And then we reiterated a lot of things. While talking about team, being a young person, we understand that what the young person wants. So whenever I try to interview people, I talk to them, I see that whether they have the same thing which when we started we all had or not. So as a young person, you understand what the other young person wants. They just need, four things. They need something impactful to work on. Second, they need a lot of flexibility. They do not want to, be set in a particular structure or rule. Third, they want ownership of their work. That whatever they should have a sense of ownership, that this is something that I am doing. So this is a great sense of ownership that young people want. And the fourth one is great team dynamics. They want some honest conversation. So in our organization, we made it a clear policy that you do not have to work from 9 to 5, 10 to 6, or at any of the time. We always say that, okay, this is a task that we want to do. You set your own timeline, that, okay, I'm free for these many days, I'm going to work at for 7 days and do this. And then it is at your own pace. You work in daytime, night, you call us throughout the day. We do not care. So that helped us get so many amazing people work on these ideas. A lot of people across the globe, there are people from Boston, there are people from Hong Kong who have helped us build these kind of products, because they do not have to worry about that, okay, I got to go to this particular meeting at this hour. We always ask them that, bro, are you free? If he is, then you can just join in the call. So as a young person, you understand what the other young person wants, and then you just build over it. That helped us gain these kind of amazing people who have helped us push this vision to a great extent. We started very small. We as a bootstrap startup, we did not have access to a large number of funds or something like that. It's always the vision and the passion that we all share, that okay, we got to do this, then we are doing this.
Okay. Since you have spoken of vision, I would like to know what is your vision with Legex? What do you want to achieve in the long run?
So Priya, there's an interesting thing when it comes to law, that no one wants to do it. That is one thing, that even the organization do not want to get into the compliances. Any individual do not want to get into the court system. So when it comes to law, this is similarly to the medicine. Everyone wants a doctor, no one wants to go to a doctor. So we just want to make it more accessible and fun for people. so that they do not have a fear of it. They have the accessibility to systems. They see that, a single process is not going to take them 3 to 4 years down the lane. So recently, we are also in about a month, we are coming up with an amazing product called Resolve, which is an online dispute resolution platform. So, right now when you go to these particular courts, you spend about 3 to 4 years of your life fighting a normal, a very petty case of getting your will done or getting your property dispute sorted. And we feel that, 3 to 4 years of a life is too much. And with the kind of backlogs we have in our court system, it will take around, with the right statistics if in place, it will take us around 400 more years to resolve the pending cases, which is a huge number. 400 years is, something that is not even imaginable for us. So we are recently coming up with an online dispute resolution platform where anyone can just get online, provide us some details that, what the dispute is, provide us the details of the other party, and they can both get online. After signing an ADR agreement, which is alternate dispute resolution, they say that, okay, whatever the verdict will be, we'll be, adhering to this. So this is like a private court setting, which we have made completely online so that anyone can resolve their disputes. So we just try to see that, where technology can make this particular legal ecosystem more accessible for people. And then, we just get onto this. So in a long vision, we see that, for every single kind of legal work, there should be a proper systematic method that they can do this with Legex. No matter, what they are, how they are starting up, even if they are, a startup, an individual, or even a large organization, they should have a streamlined method of accessibility and transparency to do all these things.
Okay. Vishesh, since you have worked with many startups, especially in their legal works, I'd like to ask you what are some of the common issues or common challenges all the startups face. Now, why I am asking this is a lot of our viewers are also trying to start up on their own. They through this question, I want to give them some understanding of what kind of legal challenges or legal barriers they can expect during their first few years.
So, in the initial years, there are majorly three things every single startup faces. First of all is, when to get into registration and when not to get into this. Because registration is the first thing that, you do when you step onto your startup journey. So that is always the question. And for that, my answer is that, first of all, analyze your market, see that whether you have a paying market or not, and then get on into all this. The second thing that, most of the startup faces is the disputes and, the lack of consciousness among the co-founders. No one wants to have a hard talk that, what your equity is going to be, what mine is going to be, because no one wants, a hard fight between the founders. They are friends with whom they have spent their years, and they do not want to get into these type of things when they have not even negotiated over a tea. Ek chai lete hain, and most of the people drink through that. So they do not want to get into the hard discussion that, yours is going to be 34, mine is going to be 32. And for this 2% gap, what is the basis for that? So second is always this kind of dispute that, they do not set the parameters and discussions early. And later on, when these kind of things happen, a lot of startups get shut down. And then, then the final one around their compliances and management. That, you get the startup registered, you do not do compliances for a good period of time because no one tells you to. And suddenly there's a notice coming in from MCA that, okay, you have not done the compliances, your company is getting stricken off or something like that. So it's always better, because, right now, as we see the role of a legal professional, it's just not to, be a service vendor. Anyone can be a service vendor. So as a legal professional, it's also our responsibility to see that what is the maximum value we can bring to an organization. So this is both for the entrepreneurs as well as the legal professionals. That we, coherently, we got to have these kind of discussions. Startups do not want to discuss with the lawyer, and lawyers do not want to, get into a discussion with a startup. This is the main thing, that is the friction that we have to remove. As a startup, you've got to talk to that person who is registering your organization and ask him that, okay, what all we got to do. And as a lawyer, it is also your responsibility to tell them that what needs to be done and what not. So in the initial few years, registration, compliances, and doing these kind of fundraising activities is always painful. That, what is my authorized capital, what is my paid up capital. And this is something that startup needs to, learn.
Okay. Vishesh, tell us about some of the challenges, some of the big challenges you have faced along the way while building and growing this venture. You can exclude the one you mentioned earlier.
Okay, so when we talk about this type of industry, so suppose that today I want to start a food delivery startup. I go to a restaurant, I tell them that okay, I'm gonna do this. They already know what I'm gonna do. So going into an industry where the precedents are already set, it's much more easier when you go to an industry where some of the big players or some of the players already exist. Everyone has an idea. When talking about this industry, legal tech is pretty new to across the globe, not just in India, but across the globe, legal tech is very new. So we get a lot of resistance from the legal community that why are you doing this technology stuff, because most of them are paid on an hourly basis. So there's a resistance from the legal industry. There's also a resistance from the organizations that we do not want to get onto this. We need to first of all understand that whether this is something impactful or not. Because if you are ordering food online, what is the maximum that can go wrong? Your burger, you won't get the burger, you will get the sandwich. That's the maximum difference that you'll get, or you won't get anything. But when it comes to legalities, if you do not do them on the right way, you are gonna get standard notice from the government, which is not beautiful for a business at all. So when we talk about this industry, this happened with us a lot of times, that there was a resistance from legal fraternity, from the organizations, and we had to streamline through that. Apart from that, one of the challenges that we faced was regarding the as we discussed earlier. So I'll just keep it short regarding the team synchronization, because unless all the people that are in the team, it doesn't matter that whether it's an intern, it doesn't matter whether it's a co-founder, because these are just labels. Everyone is gonna work at a good pace. So until and unless a team synchronization isn't over there, it doesn't matter how good your skills are, how good is the work that you have done previously, you cannot build an amazing thing. To do that, you have to collaborate, you have to iterate a lot of times and see that whether something is working or not. And this was something that we faced with technology, with business, with marketing, a lot of things.
Okay. Let's play a small rapid fire round. I would ask, I'll give you two options, two words. You have to choose one of them. So
Okay.
uh, let's start with ethics versus growth.
In the initial days, growth.
Micromanagement versus freedom.
Freedom.
Single founder versus multiple founders.
Multiple founders.
Vision versus execution.
Execution.
Hire and fire versus slow progress.
Hire and fire.
Sustainability versus profitability.
Profitability.
Short-term goals versus long-term goals.
Long-term goals.
Bootstrap versus external funding.
Both have their pros and cons, but in the initial days, bootstrapping.
Quality versus quantity.
Quantity leads to quality. You cannot have one without the other.
Okay. Reliability versus performance.
Reliability. Performance can come, at a good pace, but reliability should be there to have that kind of performance.
Okay. I'm done with the rapid fire. Coming to the next question. Vishesh, tell us some of the interesting lessons you have learned as an entrepreneur, which can shorten the learning curve of new entrepreneurs.
So, every single entrepreneur has their own set of challenges. Mine was something different, yours will be something different, and everyone has a certain different kind of particular structure, their particular how they work, and that's how all the challenges are going to be different. Personally, one of the things generically that we can expect across the industry is to experiment. Most of the time we see founders having a hypothesis that doesn't work out, they shut down the company. And that is the worst thing that can happen to anyone. And so this must have happened to all of us when we were preparing for our board examinations. We saw that something was right. We gave a unit test or a particular pre-board exam. We saw that things were wrong. So what did we do? It was not the case that we didn't opt for the board examination. We changed out our particular examination and preparation strategy. When it comes to startup, people do not do that anymore. People think they do have a hypothesis which is going to work out in the market. That doesn't happen. Market in itself has its own dynamics. So as an entrepreneur, it is your responsibility to test out at least 10 different iterations of one thing. So suppose that when we started with Legex, we had this hypothesis that people will opt for these services at a very rapid pace. That didn't happen. Now this is a particular hypothesis that went wrong. It didn't mean that the legal market isn't good. What needed was to reiterate the kind of things that our approach to this. So we reiterated with another approach that didn't work out. We reiterated with the third one that worked well. So for every single kind of work that you do, you need to have 10 iterations of something, and then commit that whether something was right or not. People either give up so easily on their first or second iteration, or they do not give up at all, even after 20 or 30. You need to have that balance that when this will work out and when this will not. So that is very generic for everyone to go out in the market, talk to people, and give out 10 iterations of what you're doing. The second thing that I feel that is across the all the startups across all the industries, that people think they are going to sit in their office, in their chairs, on their tables, and they are going to build the best product, which doesn't happen at all. You cannot innovate in isolation. To build something, you need to have these 5 people coming in from different kind of backgrounds with different kind of energy, abilities, expertise, and then work on it together. Someone will have to go down into the market, learn the nuances of it. Someone will have to go to the investors, learn what are their pinpoints around this industry. Someone will have to look at the technology, that how beautiful it can be for the users, and someone will have to look at the back end and see how imaginary it could be if someone at the front end is looking at it. So until and unless you do not collaborate all of this together, an amazing thing cannot be built. And this is something that we have seen across startups, that they do not get into this type of stuff. They think they are gonna wait for some time, build an amazing product, and then go to the market. The market rejects it outrightly. That even happened with us. When I told you that for the initial 6 to 7 months we were just kind of iterating, it was because for the initial 5 months we were sitting in our particular room. So one of the co-founders had a particular PG of his own. We all were just sitting over there and creating a product. In the 5 months when we created the product, we went out to the market. They said that this is shit. And when this guy who was sitting right in front of us, he told us that this product shit, I'm not going to use it, and I'm going to tell other people to not use it. You are young, just go and do something better with your life. And we were just sitting over there thinking, yaar, kya bol diya is bande ne? How can he say this to us? So for a particular day we were all frozen, that this is something that should not have been done. And then we reiterated and we said that, okay, we never talked to this guy. We never talked to anyone like him who are going to use this product. So how can we be sure that this is going to work or not? And again, that was one of the biggest lessons for us. That you do not work on something until and unless you do not talk to those people who are going to be the end users. So have a hypothesis, build around it, and be ready to build it 10 times to get that one streak right. No one, or a very few lucky ones got it right in the 1 or 2 attempts. You got to get it right, and you got to give that particular 10 iterations while getting to the market, talking to people, getting their feedbacks, and reiterating again.
Okay. Here is one interesting question for you, Vishesh. Is there a particular education system that is more beneficial for entrepreneurship than the conventional ones? Why I am asking this? Because you went through a couple of them, some unusual educations. I believe you attended Y Combinator school as well. So tell us what has been your understanding on how is there a particular kind of education that suits entrepreneurship?
There doesn't exist. So, as an entrepreneur, it's not about the kind of curriculum that you are in. It's about, the kind of perception that these curriculums let you build. Because, even recently I was watching Boss Baby. It's an amazing cartoon. It's on Netflix. I think everyone who wants to do entrepreneurship or wants to do business got to see it. So, this happens that as an entrepreneur, it's your responsibility to get and learn as much as you can and build perceptions. As of now, there do not exist any kind of mechanism that can teach you entrepreneurship. There can be a few lessons around product management. There can be a few lessons around how to do sales and marketing. There can be a few lessons around how to build an HR team, but there doesn't exist a mechanism to, tell you how to be an entrepreneur. You got to do it yourself. A good product manager can be an amazing entrepreneur. An amazing sales and marketing guy could be an amazing entrepreneur. So any one of them can be. It's just about the right mindset. And when we talk about mindset, no one delivers it. Either you got to develop it by reading, two of three different kinds, that, you are reading product management. On the other day, you are reading HR. So YC startup school is not. In one video they tell you about a lot of things. Then one they tell you about product management. Then in the other, but again, this is directed towards the people who already are entrepreneurs mostly. As a base, we do not have any curriculum as of now, because entrepreneurship mostly happens when two or three ideas fusion together. There's an idea coming in from society or academia or industry, and then you are building something on top of it. And that kind of curriculum, is really something that is missing a lot from the education system. So until and unless you really understand that, how two or three systems work, it is really tough to understand how entrepreneurship is. The only right thing to understand it on the second way is the market. Because when you go over there, they teach you everything, right from, they abuse you in your faces. They even, pat you on your back. They tell you you're doing a shitty job if you're not getting this right. So that is the only place that can teach you all of this together.
Okay. This is my final question to you. Tell us how you would suggest our fellow audience to start their journey as entrepreneurs.
I would suggest, start right away. There's so everyone, and this is the question that on a day I usually get 5 to 6 times, that is this the right time to be an entrepreneur? And everyone has their own journey. I would suggest that, if you have this kind of craving that you want to be an entrepreneur, start right away. Seek a particular problem. So the world has a lot of problems. You just got to pick the one that you can solve. Even I can say that, if we are gonna desalinize the whole ocean, this is going to be amazing. But I'm not the right person to do it. So see a problem. There exists a lot around us. See that, whether you are the right person to solve it. You do have a kind of team expertise or some kind of commitment to that particular structure, and get started with it. There's never a right time or a wrong time to enter or exit something. It's just about whether at that time what is needed, can you do it or not. So if you think that there's something that you can do, if you think there's a problem that you can solve, and if you think that you are the one that can do this well than most of the other people, then just do it. So it happens with us that a lot of time people ask me that why are you doing this in law? There are a lot of good law firms that exist. You are not, as an academician, you are not even a lawyer by training. Then why are you doing this? So I said that, a lot of good law firms exist. Did they do it before me? They didn't. So I'm seeing a problem. I think that, we do have the right set of team expertise and everything to do this. Then let's get started with it.
Okay. Vishesh, I must say, I'm very inspired from your journey, and it has been a wonderful conversation as well. It was a pleasure, and thanks for your time. Our best wishes for your Legex and future ventures.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Priya. It's always amazing to share these kind of thoughts. It also helps us to introspect that what we have been doing is right or not. While speaking on this, there are a lot of questions that are right now in my mind. So these kind of discussions always helps.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, for providing this platform to share these ideas.
It is my pleasure only, and pleasure of our listeners. Listeners, if you want to follow and connect with Vishesh, also you may want to get some legal help from Vishesh. Type Vishesh Sharma on LinkedIn. That is it for today's episode. We'll be back with another exciting entrepreneur. Stay tuned to ELI.